Ready?
And it was sessions ago, right? So we're still processing.
Yeah.
So, all right. Hey, Hannah.
Hi. Welcome back.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good.
Okay.
So how did the homework go?
Well, I mean, I just be getting so mad at Chris. Like, he's always mad at me. And I just can't handle it. And so it was hard to do the homework.
Okay, so to recap, just kind of the idea, it was last week that you were supposed to basically do the bean intervention, which is where you get one red bean and you are allowed to say that one thing that you're angry, and the other person has to accept the red bean, and then all the white beans are like the nice thing, right? And then you put them in the jar. So how many red beans did we get?
She got one big one from me, and she can't accept it.
So you didn't actually physically take the bean?
Well, she tricked me.
Yeah, but he gave me, he says one red bean. He used that one red bean for about 50 beans. And it was not, I'm like, you only get one. So why do you keep saying all this negative stuff to me? And it's just bad. The kids can see it, they're hearing it. It just messes up my whole day.
Why are we even doing it in front of the kids?
Well,
Like,
you keep nagging at me about, like, why would you even bring up the bean thing in front of the kids?
because we need to do it, right? Hannah wants us to get it done.
But why would we do it during the time, like, in front of the kids? Because you know it's going to start an argument.
So let me ask you this, because I think one of the things we've kind of talked about in here has been the concept of, Chris, you kind of draw the children into the arguments a little bit and use them a little bit as your, well, the word you used I think was like your shield.
Yeah. He puts the kids in front so that he's not.
She's the one that cheated, okay? Like, so the kids only know so much.
They know everything.
Why?
Because you are telling them and you want to bring up these arguments in front of them.
I've told them only so much, and
Talk to me about that. The only so much. What words have you used to tell? What have you said?
Mommy did something that was very hurtful to Daddy. I've said
And refresh my memory. How many kids?
7.
It's a lot of children.
Yeah.
So naturally, some of the older ones know a little more, right? And that's my fault. And I've always said that they shouldn't know all this. I've probably told them too much, but I didn't mean to.
Didn't mean to.
Yeah.
So mommy did something very hurtful to Daddy. And I know that there was in particular kind of an issue with you and your oldest girl, is that you and her kind of talk a lot.
Yep. Yeah.
And that kind of causes an issue with you.
Yeah, because I mean, me and her are already like at odds all the time. She's off in college now, so it's better. Like our household is better because. But when she comes home, she's like so angry at me.
She knew. I mean,
Hold on.
She's so angry at me. Thank you. See, that's what he does all the time. Even with.
So go ahead and finish your story.
So she's just so angry at me, and when she comes home now, she's really short with me, because he's used her to to be on his side. He's recruited her on his side.
Recruited her.
Yeah,
That's a wonderful
recruited.
word.
So recruited. Is your view of this?
Yes, recruited her
And
to be
what-
on his side.
And what are the kinds of things that you're hearing out of her?
I mean, of course she doesn't come and just say anything, but she just treats me like not even her mother anymore.
Yeah, and I agree. Can I talk now?
Of course.
I agree with what Shakoya's saying. I would feel the same way, but it's hard. I'm kind of the go-between right now because Grace knew something was going on for a couple of years, and I've always been one to defend Shakoya first, no matter what the situation. But with this one, I just can't. I haven't been able to defend her. There's so much.
Is that what you feel like you're doing? Is defending me?
Hold on.
Sorry.
It's just too much. And so when Grace gets upset, I mean, we end up talking. Grace and I talk about it. And so I recruit her because I've told her what Mom's done. And,
Who goes to who? Does Grace come to you or do you go to Grace?
well, it's both now, right? But it started with her kind of coming to me. We've always been close. She's my oldest. We've always been pretty close. We've always done breakfast once a week. And so, when stuff started getting funny at home, it was talked about already. So, I want to say that she comes to me, but I've always talked. I've never shut that down. And
I
so
mean, that's just not healthy that she knows that. I mean, from him, the way that she does. I feel like we should have went as a united front and talked to her about it.
and that's where I get it. I know. I mean, we've talked about this in these sessions, this conflict, right?
Mhm.
But I can't. She cheated on me.
Who do you think in this? Who do you think has more control in this relationship? Out of your entire family, who do you think has more control?
Well, he's the man. He's supposed to have the control.
No, not supposed to. Who do you feel has more control in this relationship?
Let's see what she says.
I have to have the control.
Out of all of the people in your family, who has more control in this relationship? Do you understand what I'm asking?
Well, right now, Grace.
Okay.
She does.
Say she does?
Yeah.
You say Grace?
Yes.
And you go to Grace.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be, you be Grace. You be Shakoya. Okay? And Shakoya, I want you to do something for me. I want to switch seats with you. Okay?
Okay.
And I want you to sit up on the back of this chair. Like, don't fall, but just sit up. Okay?
I'm Shakoya.
You're Shakoya.
Sit up on, up here?
Mm-hmm. Just up a little bit. Alright? And, I'm gonna, or if you want to stand, you just stand.
Please.
Okay, alright, that's fine. So, and I'm gonna be, if Grace was in this room, it was you, me, Grace, and Chris, where would I be if I was Chris?
So I'm Grace. I'm Grace.
You're Grace?
Chris would be right there where he is.
Okay, so, Chris, I want you to sit.
As Chris, not as Shakoya.
Nope, I want you, hold on. So you're Grace, you're Shakoya, and I'm Chris.
Okay.
Okay? So you feel like Grace has all the power.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like Shakoya has all the power.
Mm-hmm.
Alright? So if I'm Chris,
Mm-hmm.
Chris would be over here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want you to sit here. And you are Shakoya.
Yep.
And then I'm actually going to move this chair. And all this. And I want y'all to have this conversation. You're Grace, you're Shakoya, and I'm Chris. And I just want maybe you to notice how this feels. So talk to me, the last conversation you had with Grace, what was that? Chris, what was that last conversation?
I'm still trying to think about being Shakoya. You asked me as me.
As you.
It was, we were both kind of still processing. So we just found out a month ago, right? And you're asking me what she said.
Mm-hmm.
So she was saying, "Are you and Mom going to stay together?" And that's what she kept kind of driving towards that. We talked a lot about feelings and stuff like that, but she wants to know.
Okay.
She wants to know.
So then, all right, so that was the conversation, and my assumption is there was some sort of backlash for Shakoya, right? So you, as Grace, talk to Shakoya, and say the things that Grace said to you, or act the way that Grace acted towards you after that conversation. Okay?
You're not good enough for Dad. You're just trying to ruin our family.
What are you talking about? You don't even have a place here. This is between your father and I.
I absolutely have a place. I'm the oldest sister, and I have to take care of the family now because you're not.
I do. We have talked about this, and I do not have to listen to this, and I won't listen to it.
I know, because you don't listen to anybody but yourself.
All right, so I'm going to pause you right there. I want you to notice where you feel in relation to Chris. Where would you feel like you would be, like if you put Chris somewhere with you as Grace, where would you put me? So you put Grace there. Would I be right here, or would I be somewhere else?
Probably around right next to me.
Right here. And if he was Shakoya, where would he be?
He need over there. About
Over there?
Grace, yes.
Over
That's
there.
how he would.
Okay.
That's
Do you
how.
want me to go?
Mm-hmm. How about if you could just sit kind of in front of that chair?
On the floor?
Mhm.
Oh, as Shakoya.
That's Shakoya.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. So does anybody see anything that maybe needs a change in this relationship? I'm Chris.
Yes.
Grace.
Yes. And it's like I said, we've talked about it, and I can't find it in myself to shield Grace from it. I can't. I know what the wrong is, right? That Grace knows too much. She has too much power because she's the oldest and she knows stuff, and her and Dad talk all the time about this, right? But I can't change that. What do you want me to, like, you want me to pretend like I'm not hurt?
I want we have to put a change in this relationship right now, right? You've said you're 70% in. Chris, you said you're 60% in.
Yeah, and even more, right? But yes, I'm more than that.
So there's the openness for like a willingness to change, right? So I think that step one starts with you have to have a conversation, Grace, right? And kind of take ownership in the fact that you pulled her into this a little bit. Not negating the fact that your trust has been broken, but possibly, do you feel like there is an inappropriateness in talking with Grace rather than talking with an adult?
I mean, I know her. Yes, but again, it's hard because I know her. We're close. But again, I do acknowledge that it makes the dynamics difficult.
So if this was going to be better, if this was going to be fixed, where would you be? Where would Grace be? And where would Shakoya be? I'll be Grace.
Yeah, Grace would be over here, and you
You-
don't have to be on the floor, but I would be next to Chris. Chris
You
and
can be
Shakoya.
Chris and you can be
Chris and
Shakoya.
Shakoya would be together,
So I'm
right?
gonna move these chairs back. So is it okay if I sit here? How does that feel for you, Shakoya?
She's not our equal. She's not my equal. She needs to be, in my opinion, she needs to be lower than us because,
Like, this means something to you, that she's on a chair versus the floor.
yeah, that she is at the same level as me, and then you guys are close, so then she gets in the way of us actually. She doesn't need to know everything that we know. I don't feel like that's how.
So why don't we do this? It seems like Chris has a fundamental issue with Grace being on the floor.
I don't. That's why I asked that question. Because
Well, just the floor in general. Like, the lower may be okay, but the floor.
yeah, I don't think she belongs on the floor if you want to give it levels, yeah.
So how about this? How about the two of you stand up? Okay. And I want the two of you to kind of turn into each other. And if you could take those two hands, like hold each other's hands.
Like this?
Yep. And then if you're comfortable, you hold Grace's hand as well.
Like this?
So how does this feel? Does it feel more like the way you would like your family to look?
Yes.
So what's it going to take to get you here? And you can take a seat in your respective places now.
I think what I have to get over this because to reach out and open myself to Shakoya more so than Grace requires a change. So I have to do it. But it's hard to get over that.
Shakoya, what are you going to offer Chris to give him a reason to shift? For the record, I don't think that there's like, I'm in my head I hear get over, or you say get over, and I hear that as a negative, because it sounds to me like you're ignoring your feelings. Whereas I think that this needs to come from a place of acceptance, and hopefully the two of you moving forward and moving through together, right? And so there's acknowledgement and ownership on mistakes that were made. And Shakoya, you had an affair, it sounds like, for, is it two years?
Well, like I said, yeah, I mean, we don't.
Yeah.
We don't, what was that? Finish?
Just, she's allowed me to ask a lot of questions, and I've been pretty much a dick, but what we found out is that it started slow, and it really wasn't a full-out affair very long.
Does that negate the way that you feel about it?
No.
What was the most hurtful part of that for you, Chris?
Well, it's funny because I want to care. I caught myself saying that, she wasn't sleeping with him very long.
Yeah.
And so I want to say that would, but it's not, it's the whole thing.
If you could give a name to the part of that is painful.
Rejected.
How does that feel hearing him say that he feels rejected by you?
It's hard because I never wanted him to feel rejected, and it wasn't about that. It wasn't about him at all. It was just about me.
So talk to that a little bit more.
It was just about the. It's hard to even explain. And yeah, he asked a lot of questions, but sometimes I don't even remember why I did it, or it just was different and new, and it wasn't that I was rejecting him because I just loved him, but it just was just something that happened, and it seemed exciting at the moment and at the time, and now it's just, I hate that I did it.
Can you, I want to go back just a little bit because I heard both of you say this and I think it's important. Can you take each other's hands? And I want you to look each other in the eye. And I want you to say, I love you, Chris.
I love you, Chris.
How does that feel? Because I think that's the first time I've seen you smile in this room in a long time.
Me or her?
Her, but
Okay.
I get scared. I hope that he does love me still, because I do kind of just feel like I don't deserve it. So that makes me just want to run.
Chris, how does that feel for you?
Saying it?
Saying I love you and then what she said as well.
Yeah, so I've always loved you. I've never stopped. But you saying, feeling like you didn't deserve it, that's how I felt ever since I found out that I felt like you made a decision that I don't deserve you.
I think it's interesting to me because Chloe, when you were talking and saying I love you, you were looking right at Chris. And Chris, when you were saying what you just said, right up until the very end, you were looking at Floor. Is there like a feeling that you
Yeah, it's hard to be open and fully vulnerable. I feel like this is huge for me, and because I do want her and I want the marriage. But I mean, I'm gonna have to step into it slow. I don't know any other way to do it. I'm not gonna just deny my feelings like we said.
Well, I think, and you can, if you want to keep holding hands, you're more than welcome to. If you don't, that's okay. I think that part of this, you know, a big step in rebuilding a relationship is going to be that you're going to have to kind of redefine your boundaries with Grace and with your other kids, you know. Yes, kids are resilient, but maybe take into account that you're modeling for your children the way that their future relationships are going to be. And so what does it make you feel when you think of the fact that Grace might have kids one day, and if her husband did something, that her confidant would be her child?
How does that make me feel?
Yes.
I'm worried for her when I think about that, because it does produce a lot of distraction in the house. And I mean, Grace is a member of the family, but we've talked a lot about this, and she says that she didn't feel connected to me.
Yeah.
So I don't want that for Grace.
So I wonder what it would look like if instead of it being that Dad brings the kids in, you know, kind of as his little mini army to back him up, instead of doing that, if you two had a conversation together as a unit with all the children and just discussed openly kind of what was going on, but not openly so that it's crossing any boundaries, which would require the two of you having a conversation as a unit about what you want to say to your children.
That would be a change. They would see it.
Yeah, and then I would feel like we're coming as a united front, like I said, together.
So that's your homework for this week. Figure out what you're gonna say. And I want, like you said, easing into this slowly. So I want you to start establishing some boundaries with Grace.
Mm-hmm.
and I want the two of you to have a conversation, find time to have a conversation about what you want that conversation to look like, and then next week we can talk about what that will look like to actually do it.
Okay.
Alright, well, I'll see you next week.
Thank you. Henry, you did so good.
Yeah. Like, it's amazing. I have no clue. You still recording?
Oh my
Yeah, it's
God.
fine. I can cut it out. It's no big.
That's Olivia.